Who, if I cried out, would hear me among the angelic orders? And even if one were to suddenly take me to its heart, I would vanish into its stronger existence. For beauty is nothing but the beginning of terror that we are still able to bear. And we revere it so, because it calmly disdains to destroy us. Every angel is terror. So begins the Duino Elegies, a series of 10 laments by the Bohemian poet Rainer Maria Rilke, written in the late 1910s while Rilke stayed at Duino Castle, near Trieste, Italy. The elegies despaired the limitations of human perception and human experience, contrasted with the awesomeness of the angels. I'm using awesome in its older meaning, worthy of awe. Rilke used the word schrecklich to describe his angels. Schrecklich defined as like the meme ogre. Okay, I managed to work one dumb joke into this thing. Point being that Rilke's angels didn't function in the same way as biblical angels, as protectors and messengers. For him, they meant an inconceivable beauty, one that a human in their lifetime could never fully comprehend. The elegy, the lament that he wrote of, was for our incapability to see as they do. Like an optimist Lovecraft. Don't quote me on that one. And we, onlookers, always, everywhere, always looking into, never out of, everything. It fills us. We arrange it. It collapses. We arrange it again and collapse ourselves. Who has turned us round like this, so that whatever we do, we always have the aspect of one who leaves? Around 70 years after writing of these angels, two other men, Peter Handke and Wim Wenders, were inspired to make another poem about perception, about existence, and about angels.
Als das Kind Kind war, war das die Zeit der folgenden Fragen. Warum bin ich und warum nicht du? Warum bin ich hier und warum nicht dort?
If there's any one movie that I would have to call my favorite, I would choose this one. Wings of Desire, a story about Berlin and its angels. Angels who watch and listen. Damiel, played by Bruno Ganz in a career-defining performance, and Cassiel, played by Otto Sander, spend their existence as observers of creation. Like Rilke's angels, they're able to sense beyond human senses. The Berlin of the film was watched in reality as well, by the guards in its surrounding wall. The film was shot in the last years of when West Berlin was still entombed by what the GDR euphemistically called the Anti-Fascist Protection Rampart, more commonly known as the Berlin Wall, one of the biggest human rights violations of the Cold War. So, let the record show that no, I don't support every action taken in the name of anti-fascism. Or maybe I just don't like the idea of building walls to prevent human migration. Go figure. The Berlin of the film is overwhelmed by history, not only because of the wall, practically a character in its own right. But also because of everything that led to the wall. People in the city are replaying the terrible events of the past that led to the wall's construction. Literally, a subplot involves a film shoot set during the days of the Nazis. A film which apparently stars Peter Falk?
If Grandma was here, she'd say, spazier. Go spazieren.
Peter Falk is amazing in this movie, by the way. Well, it helps that he's really playing himself.
Ey, was, das ist Columbo? Nee, glaube ich nicht. Nee, warum doch nicht mit dem schäbigen Mantel?
Falk's Spazieren, or strolling, describes most of the film. It's a movie that feels like a stroll, like a passive observation of the city and its people. That is, a stroll interrupted.
Ich kann den Potsdamer Platz nicht finden. Hier. Das kann er doch nicht sein. Denn am Potsdamer Platz, da war doch das Café Josti. Nachmittags habe ich mich da unterhalten, dann einen Kaffee getrunken.
This character is another observer of the city, another one weighed down by its history. A character credited as Homer, the aged poet. And yes, he's implied to be that Homer.
Erzähle, Muse, vom Erzähler, dem an den Weltrand verschlagenen, kindlichen Uralten und mach an ihm kenntlich den Jedermann.
Another poet who wrote of the foibles of men and gods and all the things in between. In his original pitch for the film, Wim Wenders imagined that his angels were trapped in Berlin, abandoned by God after the events of 1945. That never became canon in the final film, but the heavenly presence, or absence, remained constant throughout production. Wenders thought that Berlin, divided by a wall, was most free, most united, through its sky. Hence the far superior German title, The Heavens Over Berlin. Let's face it, Wings of Desire sounds like the title of a Chuck Tingle book. There is desire, yes. The desire for companionship, for one.
Compañero.
And there is a love story of sorts, where the angel becomes fascinated by a trapeze artist in a circus.
Ein Engel geht vorbei.
This love story becomes the impetus for Daniel to fall. That is, become mortal. Ostensibly the main plot of the film. This arc became the main inspiration for the film's god-awful American remake starring Nicolas Cage and Meg Ryan, where, in pure Hollywood fashion, the angel falls for the sake of true love.
Zuerst werde ich ein Bad nehmen.
But for Daniel, his desire to be mortal lies in the quotidian, in simply being alive.
Dann kaufe ich mir eine Zeitung und lese sie von den Schlagzeilen bis zum Horoskop. Der Wirt im vollen Lokal wird mir sofort einen freien Tisch finden. Auf der Straße wird ein Dienstwagen vor mir halten und der Bürgermeister wird mich ein Stück mitnehmen. Jedem werde ich bekannt vorkommen und niemandem verdächtig. Kein Wort werde ich sprechen und jede Sprache verstehen. Das wird mein erster Tag sein.
When Nicolas Cage falls to Earth, he does it quite literally. Wenders does it with a camera move and color saturation. And it happens inside the Berlin Wall, at the border of Berlin. Obviously, they didn't film inside the Berlin Wall, it was literally a minefield. They built a set and filmed it there. But they did film outside of the wall. In fact, when Daniel falls, he uses the wall to gain his bearings.
Und der da?
Der ist grau-blau.
Graublau. Der?
Lila.
Der?
Der ist orange. Ocker.
Ocker? Oder orange?
Yeah,
Okay.
angels can hear thoughts, but can't see color. So in some ways, they're more limited than us. Also, I love the touch that once he can see color, his first act is to buy the most garish yarn vomit sweater he can find and wear it in public. But anyway, the use of color in the film is fascinating. The angel's view is all silvery monochrome, the human view in full color. Wenders' idea was always to have the angel see black and white, then transfer to color. Like a reverse Wizard of Oz, where this time Kansas is in color. Though instead of Oz, Wenders was probably thinking of this Powell and Pressburger film, which also straddles heaven and earth. In that film, the afterlife is silver and simple, but life on Earth gets the full spectrum.
When he's starved for Technicolor up there.
So how do Wenders' angels see? In monochrome. How do they hear? In voiceover. Black and white, multiple audio tracks. Call me crazy, but aren't those things unique to the medium of film? Do the angels experience the world as a movie? As a parade of sights and sounds, experiencing everything but never able to interact? I'm not sure if Wenders intended it, but Wings of Desire works quite well as a metaphor for cinephilia. It's about the act of observation within a limited existence, and the need to experience more. And we, onlookers, always, everywhere, always looking into, never out of everything. I think everyone who throws himself into art feels that way sometimes. That nagging feeling that while you spend so much time watching movies or listening to music or playing games or whatever your artistic medium of choice is, that by doing so, you're avoiding the world, rather than being in it. I mean, I make videos about movies for a living. I'm not under any delusion that my job is going to change the world. This movie is just a movie, and my life is just a life. But Wings of Desire makes me feel like that's okay?
Es ist herrlich, nur geistig zu leben und Tag für die Ewigkeit von den Leuten rein was Geistliches zu bezeugen. Aber manchmal wird mir meine ewige Geistesexistenz zu viel. Ich möchte dann nicht mehr so ewig drüber schweben. Ich möchte ein Gewicht an mir spüren, das die Grenzenlosigkeit an mir aufhebt und mich erdfest macht. Ich möchte bei jedem Schritt oder Windstoß jetzt und jetzt sagen können. Und nicht wie immer seit je und in Ewigkeit. Endlich ahnend, statt immer alles zu wissen. Ach und oh und ah und weh sagen können, statt ja und amen.
He's expressing a desire for the everyday, to no longer watch and to finally engage. It's about what you do when you step out of the movie theater and start living your life. Not an epic life, not a dramatic life, but a life.
Meine Helden sind nicht mehr die Krieger und Könige, sondern die Dinge des Friedens. Eins so gut wie das andere. Aber noch niemandem ist es gelungen, ein Epos des Friedens anzustimmen. Was ist denn ein Frieden, dass er nicht auf die Dauer begeistert und dass sich von ihm kaum erzählen lässt?
We tell so many stories about huge, painful, tumultuous events. So few stories about the parts in between. We need art like that. Art that celebrates the everyday and the joy of simply being. So here's to Der Himmel über Berlin, a fantasy movie about everyday life, where the fantasy is getting to live an everyday life. It's a movie that puts me at ease with being alive.